What is up? This is your LA in a minute, and the California State Assembly just passed a bill that would ban all of these products for sale and distribution if they don't change their ingredients by next year. We're talking about fan favorites, Skittles, Starburst, Nerds, Ding Dongs, Gummy Worms, Trident Gum, Mountain Dew, Orange Crush, and more because their ingredients linked to reproductive harm, cancer, behavioral issues, and other immune system deficiencies. I want to see how we got to this point and what's going to happen with these products. Let's get into it. California Assembly Bill 418 would ban the manufacture, distribution, and sale of foods containing 5 different chemicals once it goes into effect. Most familiar on that list is old red dye number 3, but titanium dioxide, potassium bromate, brominated vegetable oil, and propylparaben would also be included on the banned chemicals list. Now, the list of food that contain one or more of these banned chemicals is actually maintained by a nonprofit called the Environmental Working Group, and it's quite extensive. It contains all those foods I mentioned at the beginning and some additional, including Betty Crocker cake mix and some Campbell's soups. Now, certain states already have legislation banning some chemicals being added to food packaging, including New York, Washington, and California. Under the proposed law, the foods and beverages that contain these chemicals will be required to modify their recipes for products sold in California. Each violation would be subject to fines, starting with $5,000 for the first offense and $10,000 for each subsequent infraction. Now, this law is based on legislation that already exists in the European Union, which bans and requires alternatives to those same 5 chemicals. There was a report by the California Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment in 2021 that linked these chemicals to neurobehavioral effects in children, such as memory and learning disabilities, amongst other things. Now, there are predictably opponents to the bill, including the Consumer Brands Association, who said that the FDA has already evaluated these products and there's no use of having a patchwork set of laws for every state. For instance, Skittles would have a different recipe for the product they sell in California versus what they sell in Oklahoma. It's also worth noting that some major companies, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Panera Bread, Dunkin', have already stopped using these chemicals. This bill isn't a law yet. It passed the Assembly, but it still needs to pass the California State Senate, and then Governor Newsom can either sign, let it pass without his signature, or veto the bill. Even if the bill does pass, your favorite products aren't coming off the shelves. The manufacturers are just going to change the ingredients. But I want to know, do you think this is a case of government overreach, or is it protection for your kids and for us? And either way, if it does pass, it's not going into effect until January 1st, 2025. So enjoy all your favorites until then. All right, LA, it's been a minute.